To current and recent events, locally, statewide, nationally, internationally, as I'm sure folk in this gathering tonight do. You're aware that for a period of 30 to 40 years, there has been what is described or referred to in the national media a border crisis between our Texas Rio Grande River border and the accompanying nation of Mexico, and not so much with New Mexico and Mexico, but the state of Arizona shares much in common with us in terms of some issues on the international border between Arizona and Mexico. And there's I think some fairly understandable or logical reasons for that. So what I'd like to do is, first of all, tell you a little bit more about myself and how I came to be involved in the border issues from a humanitarian, not from a political standpoint. While serving as Executive Director of Breckenridge Village, a part of our executive level training and responsibility was to gain incident management training through the very same program that the U.S. Forest Service uses to fight fires. Very similar to a military chain of command kind of training. Any gentleman here familiar with ICS training? Incident Command System? It's the system the National Forest Service developed where you have multi-agency responses to an emergency situation. And it's really a communication tool and a kind of chain of command tool to help emergency responders know how to manage incidents when you've got state, local, federal agencies and personnel involved. Well, BCFS, our parent company, Baptist Child and Family Services, has been involved in helping at-risk children and at-risk families for over 70 years in the state of Texas, and has gained, I think, a very well-deserved reputation as doing an exemplary job. Jane and George are very familiar with BVT. It's not a perfect operation by any means, but it is this place where any of us would be, I hope, more than willing to put our child if we needed those services. It is a good, safe, responsible place to be. But as part of our management training, our agency has an emergency services division through which, when there is a crisis that requires the sheltering of people who are displaced from their homes, we have an incident management team and trained personnel to respond really on very short notice. I've literally stood up an emergency medical shelter in Tyler on 3 different occasions for people evacuated from Beaumont that had medical special needs. So that's been a part of our training and our management experience. I worked in San Antonio for about 7 weeks in the Katrina event, sheltering medical special needs folk that had come out of the inner city of New Orleans. Our agency, in the David Koresh Waco siege event, it may have gotten lost in the bigger picture, but there were actually, I don't know the exact number, about 12 or 14 children that survived that event. And our agency did the short-term sheltering and then the long-term foster care placement of the kids that survived the David Koresh nightmare. Our agency sheltered 439 mothers and children that were brought out of the Yearning for Zion ranch down in South Texas, out from San Angelo. I was involved in that operation for about 3 weeks in San Angelo. So we gained a kind of national reputation for emergency response and particularly emergency sheltering. So 2 years ago now, well, this is 2015, 2.5 years ago, in the spring and into the summer of 2012, the Texas-Mexico border experienced a surge of unprecedented numbers at that point in time. A surge of children coming into the United States illegally, primarily not from Mexico, but from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala. And I'll say more about those 3 places in a moment. The surge in 2012 involved, I think the total number that the Border Patrol detained, the total count nationwide in that surge was somewhere in the range of 16 or 18,000 children. Now we've had children and adults, as you know, coming across the border into Texas and Arizona, both legally and illegally. That situation has existed for a long time. That is not a new issue. What is new, what is historic in these recent events is the volume, the number. So we responded. We were tasked by the Federal Health and Human Services on a humanitarian mission to provide temporary short-term sheltering for these unprecedented numbers of kids. Although technically it was supposed to be an operation for unaccompanied adolescents, we actually had one girl as young as 5 that somehow got here from Guatemala. I can't fathom that. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter. Can't fathom that. But somehow she got here. And she didn't come with an older brother and sister. We did not have a sibling group that we could connect her with. But by and large, 12 to 15 to 16-year-olds, for the most part. Then, and I worked in Harlingen, in that sheltering operation, and we had about 6 different shelters between San Antonio and the Rio Grande Valley in that operation, and I think the biggest shelter was maybe 400 or 500 kids at the height of the population. Early in 2014, the same issue began presenting, but in vastly greater numbers than even the historic numbers. I mean, in other years, maybe at the most a few thousand spread over the whole year. But really right about this time last year, the so-called surge was beginning to surface. And by April, it was clear that the state of Texas and the state of Arizona, and because immigration, legal or illegal, is a federal issue, it became then very quickly a national crisis. And to kind of jump to the chase, when all was said and done this past summer, in excess of 64,000 children under the age of 18, unaccompanied by any adults, showed up in Texas and Arizona along our international border. Now you can see, politics aside, you can see that that is a